Okay, welcome everybody to this evening's ACY Securities webinar. My name is Duncan Cooper. Now, this evening's webinar is Forex Trading Live Market Analysis. And just to give you a heads up, tomorrow evening I'll be going through the trade setup called a swing point break. So if you want to join me for that, that's based on the 50-minute charts in line with the day chart trend. That will be tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. Sydney time. Just got to set yourself over to the webinar page and register your interest there if you want to join me for that. So that will be tomorrow's webinar. And before we get into this evening's webinar, if everybody can read through the disclaimer. Those on our YouTube live stream, I can't see the chat there, but I've given you the link to join us in the webinar. So you're more than welcome to watch there, but if you're chatting to me, I can't see. For those in the webinar, the chat box is open and the Q&A box is open. You can chat to me via either. So just take the time to read through the disclaimer before we move along. All right, let's move along now. For those that don't know me, my name is Duncan Cooper. I'm the Senior Market Strategist and Trading Mentor here at ACY Securities. And I'm a full-time Forex trader. I've been trading in the Forex now for almost 20 years, mentoring for more than 10. If you want to contact me about the webinars, my email's there, duncan.cooper@acy.com. And you can connect with me through the week at our website, acy.com, go to the Market News tab. At ACY Securities Australia is our YouTube channel. And if you want to connect with me personally, set over to my Linktree page there, you'll get my links there. And if you want to use the charts I'm using for MT4, just contact Nathan. Bray's details are on screen, nathan.bray@acy.com. And for those in the webinar, I'll just put his details in the chat for you. There we go. If you want to give him a call, he'll only be to have a chat with you, set you up. So let's get into the analysis for the day. First up, we'll have a look at the news items coming up for the week. And it's going to be a big week for news. So let's go through the red items shown in my time, Queensland time. And tomorrow evening, 11:30 p.m. US CPI data. So core CPI, month-on-month, CPI month-on-month, and year-on-year. Expecting not much change, maybe an ever so slight 0.1 of an uptick. Okay. Of course, if these numbers come in totally different, then that will definitely be a very volatile news event. 12:45 in the morning, then moving into Thursday, we have the Bank of Canada rate statement, overnight rate, expecting a 25 basis point cut, which would be dollar Canadian strength, theoretically. Press conference at 1:30 a.m. Into the morning of Thursday, 10:30 a.m. for Aussie. Employment change and employment rate, expecting slight uptick in the rate, maybe a few more jobs. So it's funny how the rate will go up, but they're saying there's more jobs created. And then 6:30 p.m. for the Swiss policy assessment, S&P policy rate, expecting 25 basis point cut there. So that would be theoretically dollar franc positive, but the market is, if they're expecting all these cuts, then it's really more what gets said in the press conferences around these interest rate decisions. Then at 11:15 p.m. for Euro, we have the interest rate decision there, expecting 25 basis cuts, policy statement. Okay, and from that, we have the ECB press conference at 11:45, and then just before then at 11:30 for the US, we have further inflation data, core PPI, month-on-month, and unemployment claims. Now, this may not do too much because whatever happens from the core PPI on Wednesday, if that comes in pretty much on print, the market will probably expect the same for that. But that can definitely be a window of aggressive news action at that time. So Benjamin, I see you got okay there. If you've got something to ask me, just let me know. But So the big news events really will be the US CPI data. We've got pretty much expected at the moment from the Federal Reserve in December, a 25 basis point cut when they do the meeting. But the inflation data will most definitely be looked at. And if it, I don't know, if it significantly drops, then maybe they could cut 50 basis points or at least talk about further cuts, more aggressive, so on and so forth. Of course, if the data comes in and rises quite aggressively, then maybe the 25 basis point cut in December is off the cards. So those are really the two events that will really drive the markets from the US perspective. And then, of course, we've got the Eurozone interest rate decision, which usually is very volatile. Swiss interest rate decision, Canadian interest rate decision. Okay, so quite a lot going on there. Wednesday into Thursday there. Okay, be aware of what's coming out. And Friday there, we have 5 p.m. Just missed that one for the pound UK GDP month on month. All right. All right, so let's get into the chart. So we've been seeing from the job figures on Friday, the US dollar went weak after the delivery of the data, but then sold off. And we had a day down pairs to the US dollar yesterday. So at the moment, structurally on the dollar index here, we are in a downtrend on the daily, failing out. I'll just draw it here on the day so we all know. We have a lower top here. And we're just having a 3-day rally here, back to this top here. 79% of that range. That's 79% of last week's trading range that we're in. We're in the trading range of last week, the high and low of last week, up to the 79% point. Which, if we're going to continue down this week and have another week down, this could be most certainly where the dollar index puts in its intra-week top. So maybe it tops Tuesday, and then he's going down for the rest of the week. We'll have to wait and see. So day chart trend is down, even though we're rallying. And if we look at the weekly, let me just get rid of that fib. We've failed at the top of the range here. And now the market's asking itself, is it now coming up just to retest today this top before further declining? Of course, if the data for the USD is very positive this week, we could be moving up once more to challenge this high. So the big question will be through the course of December, are we holding up here to move down once more to here? All right, so we've had a 2-week kind of sell-off. We're just trading up within the range of this week at the moment. So just because we're up at the moment, it doesn't mean to say we're having a week up. Or we may just be coming back up within the range of the last week to then get to a high point to sell off from. All right. So it is worth just watching. Drop this down to a 4-hour chart. Just watching on the 4-hour chart here. How does this hold at through today anyway, as we're coming up? What happens at 106.41 and 106.36? So 106.36 is the top to the left, the weekly top, and the 79% fill at 106.41. If we come up to there or very close today, if we start to see weakness, so that would mean that the euro dollars pull back and the pounds pull back a little bit more. Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar getting down to very low points on their charts as well. All right, so what is happening this week? Are we going to be able to have a week up, or are we going to top out at 106.41-ish area? Okay. S&P 500, within the swings, we've moved up, pulled back almost to 62, and we're in the profit-taking area, almost at the 127 extension of this run at the moment. So personally, I would like to see then, and of course, the CPI data, PPI data being released will affect the stock market. I would want to that range now for a pullback to the 62.79% level for the next dip. 79% level overlaps nicely with that top there at 58.81. 58.86 is the 79% level. So that would be nice to see. That would be a good area to watch for supports for, again, a further move. And often we get a move up in December to the new year in the bull market. So we're pretty much at the all-time high within a day or two. So we're going to have a little bit of a dip for a further move. Okay, euro dollar. All right, so that was Friday. took out these highs. Still can't get back above this 106 level with a close at the moment. So if you're much more bearish euro dollar and you think we're moving down long term, then any more retest of 106 failures is where you want to be looking to get short. I'm monitoring this weekly range. Go to the weekly chart, this range here. And we folks broke this monthly low down here at 104.48. Last lows of the last couple of weeks have been testing or getting support there. Couldn't quite get down there last week. So I'm anticipating we may be coming up this range, maybe towards the 109 level, because there's an imbalance that got formed in here. I am just going to fill it in. So I'm looking at the market coming up to here if it can sustain its upward move. But of course, it needs to get above this 106 level with some conviction. It actually close above there. So at the moment, the trend is up here on the daily, whilst the weekly is down. Swings, just, putting in the big swings. Are we going to be coming down for a higher bottom here? We will have to wait and see. So on the 4-hour chart, looking at the range of last week, so low to high, we are almost at the 62 level. So what I would want to be watching today is, do we break this 4-hour low and take out a few stops and come down to the 62 level? And then do we see like a rush, take out the stops, and then we false break and move back above? So I would be watching that area today for possible supports. So we've just traded just underneath yesterday's low, that 4-hour level. So I would be watching this area today for a possible support point. 62 level for the week here. All right, as the dollar index comes up to its 79% level. All right, that's not where I would want to be selling into a possible weekly support zone, but I will be watching that for a reversal back up. And then can we, attack 106? We didn't quite get to 106 yesterday. Still, 106 is a very sensitive area. If we come back up to 106 this week and you're of a sell bias, that's the area to watch for failure. This could be the support area for the week at the moment as we're coming into here. So that's well worth watching that area. 105.24 is a 62% fib. Euro yen, it's just at daily chart resistance here at the moment, but it is, I did say this range I've got in with the fib last week. I said we have a higher bottom, higher top on the weekly. We'll be getting support at the 79% level area last Tuesday. And this week we have actually been almost down to the 79% level. It's getting some support from over here. And until things change, I'm thinking this could be the bottom here for a move up. So that will be my bias direction. I don't like where price is just right now. It's just into this old support. So if it was to retrace within the range of yesterday, so yesterday had outside up day. So yesterday, if we could retrace to the 62.79 zone, look for a dip within this upward move. I would look into that zone. So it's 158.69 to 158.32. Can we trade down? Get intraday support for continued move up. All right. Now, I may not do that, but that's what I would look for. We may see price break above resistance, and that 159.90 level becomes support to move higher if we don't pull back. All right. So a couple of options to watch for. Euro pound is very rangy. Trend is down, but you're right on top of support. So for me, I can't sell there. I would need to see, if I wanted to sell, I would need to see this come back up to, let me get my drawing tool to work. I would need that to come up to 82.94 area to be resistant. See what it did here on these three candles. So if it could come back up, watch 82.94 to 8300 for resistance, for then a move back down to support. And can we break down and through? But I can't sell into support. So support's at 82.20, 82.67 to 59. Through the week, if we want to get short, we could wait for a break. I'd need to see a break below and then a rally back. So break below, rally back to this area intraday. All right, so just where it is. If you're very bullish, then of course we're on support at the moment for euro pound. So then we could be at the buying level. There is to the left of where I'm talking about here. You go to your monthly chart. There's lots of monthly support to the left here. That's why we're very range bound and struggling to move lower. There's monthly support over here at 82.76. So we're just 10 pips below that at the moment. But that's why we're struggling to move further down, because of all these lows that have formed to the left on the monthly chart. So it's not the best area at the moment to get short, even though the trend is down, it's not the greatest area short, because we've already experienced two strong rallies from the area. It would not surprise me to see another. So if this was the only thing I could trade today, I would have to be looking down here for the opportunity to buy, because we're on support. So I could just monitor to see if we reject down here, and do we get back above last week's low? So if the 50-minute chart gets back above 82.68, then potentially we could be moving back up towards 82.94. As I'm talking, it is trying to move down. So what's that euro? Is it still getting down there? Euro is just holding that zone that I just said before. So the pound must be doing something. Pound dollar must be just coming up a little bit stronger than maybe the euro. So this is the same range that I mapped it on the euro. This is a minor lower top on the weekly to a bottom, and I'm just monitoring that range as we come back up. All right. And it looks like I've got a lot of lines in here, but some big weekly support area over here, 26.12, that has become support for a higher bottom. And the overall trend here on the daily is up. We may just be needing a pullback. We have had a 1 day down. So that was last week's low to high. And we've had about a 50% pullback at the moment. It's pulled back to this old top area here. So the day chart trend is up at the moment. The big question for me is, can we come back up to test this area for one, and even maybe come back up to the 130 area? The overall dominant trend on the monthly chart for this pair is actually up. Just get rid of all these lines, get rid of this fib. Here's a higher bottom, higher top, and we've had about a 79% pullback. Just the day chart. So that's the monthly low, monthly high, 79% pullback. And I'm expecting maybe this is going to now come all the way back up. Could we be going back up to 134? Now, of course, there's barriers in the way, as we we're just saying. This 128.34 level needs to be broken. The 130 level needs to be broken, but you know, we're just having 1 day down here. We could just be coming down, rallying, keeping the uptrend. Daily chart trend is up at the moment, even though we're having a couple of weak days. At the moment, if I wanted to get short, I would need to see this maybe day chart move back to down, because whilst the weekly is down, the monthly is up, and the days flip back up in line with the monthly after a 79% retracement on the monthly scale. So, all right, so last week's range, we're often pull back within the range last week. We've only had a 50% pullback at the moment. Getting support from that day chart top at 127.14. So support at the moment is coming in at 27.14. I would say maybe down to 2700 if we keep moving down. That's definitely an area to watch for support this week. Down to 26.90, 62% level here. Any news volatility into that area would be great this week. at the moment, this is rather choppy. And on the 15 here, it's a little bit of a consolidation, bit of a breakout, pulling back to, where we've been. These were false breaks to the downside, false break. This area has come back to test those lows. That looks like it's maybe holding here. So we're going to see a trend line break to trade up for another test of 128 today. All right, so it looks like we're following a little bit of a base. We've come back from yesterday's trading, so we filled an imbalance to the left here on the 15-minute chart. There was an imbalance formed as we had that impulsive move up here yesterday. Lo and behold, prices come back to that point. That's spiked into it there, and then these two areas, 1 and 2 here, just holding straight across from there. And I'm pretty sure, as I'm eyeballing, there's a 79% retracement. That's yesterday's range. 79%, we're not quite getting there within a pip or two. So yes, you could be waiting for 127.33 as a 79% retracement level if the market can get down there, but just looking like maybe it's just already formed its base here, maybe intraday. There's a 79% level. That area is definitely support for the buyers at the moment. So if you want to get long, look to get long close to there, stop below. For the sellers, anywhere above 128 at the moment is where the sellers have been congregating, because you can see there Thursday, Monday, a little bit above on Friday, Monday, a little bit above on Friday, got above 128, and then we came straight back down. Yesterday, we couldn't quite get to 128. So those are the kind of levels that we're looking at the moment. Here's the buyers. Sellers, I would expect to be up here. Pound yen, like the euro yen. So last week I said the same thing. 62% support here at an old area of day support. We can get to the day chart just here. And are we continuing up? On the weekly scale, like so. So we're going to see that day chart trend has turned up. There's a little higher bottom here on this outside candle. Like the euro yen, we're just into resistance here. So it's not the perfect area to just go and buy. But I would watch for a pullback, like I said, in the euro yen. Look to the 62.79% zone, which is 191.66 to 191.19. And look for a pullback into that area to hold for a continued move up in line with that weekly trend. So we already had a week up, and can we see a dip for a continued move up this week? What's that euro doing? Still in that zone. Okay, Aussie yen was quite bullish yesterday. Of course, we had the interest rate decision today, and leading into there, we then had a drop. All right, so the weekly is high bottom, higher top, 79% pullback. We're positive for the week, but we haven't had a week up yet. And you can see the very large candle up yesterday from the 79% area. I would look for a pullback of that range, yesterday's move up. It'd be great if it could get down to 79% level, because you'd have some form of maybe head and shoulder pattern here inverse. So 9600, that would be potential strong support to buy a dip for a further move up that range. So we're seeing most definitely euro yen, pound yen having a week up. Aussie yen hasn't quite done that yet, but structurally on the weekly charts, they're all kind of bullish. So if you're seeing the other yen pairs doing a movement up, then the Aussie yen will probably follow suit. It was very strong yesterday. It's just absorbing the interest rate decision of today. So just to the 15, 79% level overlaps with that 96 level down there. Today's projected low down there too. That would be a great zone to watch if we could get down there today. It would also feel just a little bit of imbalance that got formed here on this very impulsive move up. All right, so I would look to this area if we could get down there for a revisit this week. Might not get down there, but that would be my desired area. Aussie, which is maybe forming a base here after its drop after the interest rate decision. We're not able to trade below last week's low. That was Friday's low, then we reversed back up. And of that movement up, let's go to the 4-hour chart. Rushed up yesterday, so did the Aussie yen. Then we've come all the way back down. Couldn't take out the low. We're at the 79% level here. This would be a great area to buy now. Stop below the low, anticipating that maybe we're going to be coming back up. So higher top. All right. Stop below the low. That's assuming that we've managed to bottom out down here already, which we could have. The other option that you could be doing, if you're a little bit concerned that maybe we haven't bottomed out yet, so we're going to go to the weekly chart. You can see these lows, low, low. We're getting very close to the bottom of the range. See what happened when we got to the top of the range up here? We false broke and then came all the way back down. So we could maybe want to trade just underneath these lows and then do the false break, movement all the way back up. So it's always difficult. Do you wait for the lows to get swept, or have we already put in a bottom? 4-hour chart has put in a high top now. It's then pulled back to 79% zone. So you have to make a choice. Do you want to trade now at 79% level, or are you going to wait to see if these lows get swept and then false broken? These lows could definitely get swept and false broken later in the week when we have the CPI data coming out. But you as a trader have to decide when you're going to engage. I do not have a crystal ball telling me what will work and what won't. All I can do when I'm trading is decide, do I like the risk, the setup, the area that I'm trading in, and I have to make a decision, am I trading today or not? So you have the option there today, trading at the 79% level. The 50-minute chart is showing a little bit of a sideways area at the moment, so you could be waiting for maybe a strong break above these tops here, so a good strong close above 64. You can see it is consolidating this area, so we feel this imbalance here that got made yesterday on the upward move. So are we now absorbing orders here? See how we were sideways here? Before boom. So are we going to go sideways here before we go the same way? All right, New Zealand yen. Same weekly structure here is a higher top, higher bottom, higher top, 79% pullback. We have had a week down and a week up yesterday. Started off weak at the start of the day, and then we went up by the end of that big impulsive outside candle. I would, in the perfect world, look for a pullback on that upward move yesterday to the 62.79% zone. So 87.76 down to 87.43. Buy area for a move up. It could get a bit deeper. I'm just noting here support, false break. So could get a little inverse head and shoulder pattern. Similar to what I was showing you on was it the Aussie? On the Aussie, yep. All right, so would that form on the New Zealand yen to continue up this week? Well worth watching. So yesterday we had a week down and a week up in the first day of the week. So have we seen a complete reversal down there? That's the thing to consider. All right, New Zealand dollar. It is trying its hardest. It did close back above 58.49, but we're back below it. So 58.49 to your weekly chart is this low here. And then there's a further low down here that we haven't got to at 57.73. So are we holding here to move back up to the top of the range? Or are we going to break down? Day trend did go to a higher top, and then that's kind of a lower top here, but we haven't taken out this bottom, so we could be still bottoming down here. Could be forming almost now a double bottom down here. I thought with the reversal yesterday, that's what's happening. But of course, we're negative at the moment, but we could be finishing positive by the end of the day. This could be a very low point for the day for you to get long. Stop down here. And, you know, getting very close to the bottom in for a move all the way back up to 63.69. So let's just drop it down to the 4 hour. 4 hour, you can see it's very similar to the Aussie dollar. Higher top, 79% retracement here. Just spiked once more back below last week's low, but it's back above last week's low. You know, this is great risk reward being a buy down here. Entry, stop, or stop below here. Looking for a long-term move up. Limited risk in pips to potential maximum gain in pips to the top of the range at the moment. And when the market is trying to turn, it will often do this big rally up, and then it comes all the way back down. Just when you think it's setting off, it comes all the way back down for a 79% retracement. All right, so the 15-minute chart, it's maybe putting a little bit of a higher bottom area in just here. So whatever your setup is, you could be waiting for trend line break to the upside. Maybe you just want to buy, stop below yesterday's low. See how this came all the way down, pretty much to fill the imbalance down here. It's not quite got there, but it's pretty much completed most of that move, that impulsive move up here. All right, so are we going to hold here to move up today? Dollar Canadian. What did I say about the news on the dollar Canadian? We've got not until the early morning of Thursday, so we're only Tuesday today. So, you know, from Tuesday's perspective, there's nothing happening now from a news front till late Wednesday evening my time. So nothing much at the moment to worry ourselves. So we do have the interest rate decision though coming. So this may not want to commit too much above last month's high at 141.77. This was where I said watch for support last week on Tuesday. And it came in there. All right. Now, just from a monthly perspective, we're at the 127 extension of the swing. So it isn't easy going being a buyer so high up, when you would maybe anticipate that once we're into this area, we would then at least have a pullback before the market can continue up. It doesn't have to pull back, but you know, if you're a positional trader wanting to hold for a move, you should not be getting in now. You should have been getting in on the last pullback, this pullback area here. This is your profit taking area up here. or are you holding to see if we can test these highs? Now, so it is difficult to get long up here, so high up now. Weekly, trend is up. Daily. So even with the swings on the daily swings, we're at the 162 extension level here. Pull back to 62, we're almost at the 200% point. So that is over moved at the moment. There's no way I'm going to buy up there. I would be, if I wanted to trade this pair today, I would look at this high, which is last month's high, okay, and watch these last two candles, because the current one hasn't finished yet. But these three candles, they're all wicky up here at last month's high. I would watch for a reversal down. Do you see your price action set up for a reversal down? So can you see some form of trend line break here? Or a drop, rally, drop. Okay. Yes, it can continue up. It's great if you're already long. Good place to get long yesterday was this pullback to 140.105 and 140.100. So that is support. So if you're wanting to get long, I would watch that area again. But at where it is, it's going to be selling pressure at last month's high. So that is not where you want to get long. Potentially, that may be where you want to get short if you're wanting to go counter trend. Dominant trend is definitely up, but we're definitely overstretched in that area. All right, dollar franc. It's looking like the dollar index. All right, it's having a rally. This is nowhere near rallying as strongly as the dollar index, and it is potentially at resistance here. Would be great just from a structural point of view, technical point of view, to come up to the 62.79% area, put in a lower top to continue down. That interest rate cut, though, that we may see this week would be potentially dollar franc positive. So not that the market has to go up, because maybe the market's already factored it in. Structurally, though, trend is down. And ahead of that interest rate decision, maybe want to be watching 88.01 to 8800 to hold intraday. Could watch that area. I'd be a lot happier just allowing us to come up to the 62.79% area personally, because we're only just above the 38 level. So naturally, with the fib tool, we would probably come up 62.79% area. But you could watch this area intraday if that starts to really want to hold intraday on the 15-minute chart. Well, you could then get, if you can get a tight entry, look to trade down from the 8800 level. All right, dollar yen. So it's actually just moved above the area that we were holding at last week. So that's Friday. That was Tuesday. I said watch up here. Tuesday to be resistance, and then it came all the way back down to support. Has put in a higher bottom to a higher top now. So I would with all the yen pairs looking a little bit bullish, then potentially this is going to be moving back up the range. Just want to look at my weekly trends, and is actually down. Although there are some, if I'm using the major tops, that's the lower bottom, that's the lower top, but there are some little minor swings. But I would probably say that that trend is down on the weekly there, from there to there to there, down. Which is a little bit against what we're seeing on the other yen pairs, which is up. But that being said, on the daily front, day trends turned up, higher top, higher bottom. Now we need to look for a bit of a reaction back. So I'll draw a fib across this range, keep dragging it up to the 4-hour chart, keep dragging it up as price moves up, and then look for a pullback to the 6279% zone. So this is too far up at the moment. That was the last fib range and pullback, and we're getting up to the 127 extension. I can keep that still. So we went up, pulled back in between 6279, back to day support. So allow that to top out, wait for the next pullback, look to buy the pullback for continued move up. All right, so I will just keep monitoring this range, keep dragging the fib up if price keeps moving up, and wait for a pullback. We're having a week up this week, so can we have a dip for a continued move up this week? All right, let's finish on gold, which is rather range bound. My two markers are where I've saying the boundaries are to trade. So I just want to count back 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where we were last week on Tuesday, and nothing's much changed. It hasn't got down to support, and it hasn't got up to resistance. And it's rather rangy. Of course, we've got Christmas coming up. We've got a lot of maybe geopolitical uncertainty, things changing. CPI data coming out this week as well. So after a very strong move through the year, very strong on the weekly chart and monthly chart, maybe we're just holding our breath now. High time, well, the monthly trend is up and the weekly trend is down at the moment. So if we just look at those two time frames, monthly is quite clearly up, but it's very overextended. It's had a month down last month. Weekly, we may be putting in a lower top. And we're kind of stuck between this weekly area, 2602, which has been support, and false breaking 2685. I did have on my day chart a fib showing where the 79% high area is. So that's support. If we were to get up to 79% level, that could be resistance. But at the moment, moving to the 4-hour chart, you can see here on the 4-hour chart how range bound it is. You just need to draw in the range. So about 26.21 on the 4-hour chart support, and about 26.80 is resistance there on the 4-hour chart. So we've got ranges within ranges at the moment. It's not great. It has obviously been trading very nicely, but at the moment it's moving into a consolidation phase. That could just be because of Christmas, or, it can't keep moving up forever before maybe it needs a month or 2 or 3 months of correction. Right? Nothing goes up. If we had a 3-month correction, that would not change the monthly trend. It would just be coming back to lower levels, where buyers would be more excited about taking their positions for the next upward move, accumulate positions. Right, so high up, you would think buyers would be getting rid of their positions because they want to wait for the next corrective phase to get back in. So we're rangy, and if you don't see your setup, just wait. Wait for the outskirts, okay? And on my day chart, my outskirts are 2602, 7% fib at 27.35. I will look to those outskirts. Outskirts could still be, yes, support down here at 2602, but then this weekly high over here at 26.85. Because we're not getting up to that level. We haven't tested level once yet. So the range is getting tighter. So if I had to trade something, I'd probably look at something else at the moment because that is rather range bound. I just want to finish off by just having a quick look at once more at the pound. Right, it's holding down here. Is it going to hold here to see a move up today? Euro, okay, it's right at the bottom of my 62% level now. So maybe that dollar index is getting closer and closer to 106.36 to 106.41, this area here. Is that area going to hold this week? Will that hold so that the euro holds here? So my 4-hour chart on the euro, 62% level of last week's range. We'll have to wait and see. All right, so can you see a setup? So some of these support areas maybe for a reversal. We'll just have to wait and see if they can. The pullback that we're having at the moment, is it's just going to be a pullback before further move up, or did we actually top out on Friday? Okay, we'll have to wait and see. All right, we'll leave it at that for today. If you want to join me tomorrow for tomorrow's education webinar, which will be the trade setup, swing point break, just register your interest at the link at the top, and I look forward to seeing you then. That starts tomorrow at 8 p.m. All right, everybody, thanks very much. Thanks for your company. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.